Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks Commentary. It is Tuesday, February the 19th. I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. Just because the Vancouver Canucks don't play until Thursday doesn't mean there's not a lot going on. They've made a couple more transactions today. Want to talk about those, want to talk about the standings, and then I want to talk about today, my main topic is, how many top six forwards do you think the Canucks actually have in their possession? Spoiler alert, I'm going to argue there's only 3 of them, but we'll talk about that in a second. Firstly, a couple transactions. Started off the day by learning that the Vancouver Canucks have signed journeyman goaltender Michael Leighton to a contract. And we knew this because they had to put him on waivers. So in essence, he was playing in Utica on a pro tryout contract. So without a contract, on a PTO, a pro tryout, professional tryout. And then because the Canucks signed him to Utica, and they actually had to put him on waivers. In essence, how they call it is they've signed him with the intention of reassignment to Utica. So in essence, if he clears waivers, which he likely will, because he wasn't even playing with any team, not even a AHL team, then he will be assigned to Utica, and then he will be an actual goaltender down there because they've been riddled with injuries to Kubikov, to Bachman. They've had a couple of PTOs. Demko's up with Vancouver, recovering from injuries. So that means they actually have a goalie under contract in Utica. And Leighton's deal is a 1-year deal. It's a 2-way deal, meaning he gets paid differently if he's playing with the Canucks versus down in Utica. And ultimately it brings Utica at least some goaltending stability. Michael Leighton was drafted in 1999 in the 6th round, so he's old. He's almost as old as I am. Think of that. No, he's 37 years old. I'm 44. And he's played for 4 different teams: Chicago, Carolina, Nashville, and Philly. And it's interesting, 3 of those teams, I think all of them except Nashville, so Chicago, Carolina, and Philly, he's actually done 2 stints with those teams. And, you know, some seasons he's had like 1 game played, 4 games played, 7 games played. Others, I think his peak was a 35-game season with Chicago in the late 2000s, 2009, 2010, whatever it may be. So I can't remember off the top of my head. I just looked it up at Wikipedia before I recorded this. But we know he's played in 117 career games. He was drafted 20 years ago, 37 years old, or 19 years ago. So he's 37 years old, so I don't expect him to be up with the Canucks, although he's insurance. But with Demko coming back very soon, as I mentioned yesterday, and then I mentioned yesterday, and then so with Demko coming back, and then of course Marek Mazanec signed. This is a depth move, and then of course when Demko comes back, expect to see Mazanec sent down to Utica. So now you're going from a place where there are no goalies under contract there to 2 in Leighton and Mazanec as soon as Demko's ready. So that's the first one. The second one, I just saw it before I recorded this, is the Canucks have recalled defenseman Ashton Sautner from Utica to bring him up to the Canucks. So as I hinted yesterday, we talked about the fact that there weren't any teams. There weren't any teams. What am I talking about? There were only 6 healthy D-men, if you don't include Alex Edler. So because the Canucks sent down Breezeball back to Utica yesterday, they only had Stetcher, Hutton, Pouliot, Biega, Goodbranson, and Luke Shen, who was called up as Breezeball was sent down. So then the thought was, well, does that mean Alex Edler will be ready on Thursday? Does that mean there's another move? And then we saw today that Sautner is coming up. So maybe they want to give Breezeball a look. He got 3 or 4 games in. Maybe they want to give Sautner a look. Or maybe Sautner doesn't even play. Maybe Shen doesn't even play if Alex Edler comes back on Thursday, which seemed a little soon considering he's not even practicing with the team yet. So I expect to see Luke Shen in the lineup on Thursday night with Ashton Sautner as the 7th, the extra D-man. And then once Alex Edler comes back, likely Sautner and or Shen will be sent down. Well, at least one of them for sure. So that's the other move today. So again, the Canucks signed Michael Leighton to a pro contract with the intention of putting on waivers with the intention of assigning him to Utica. And then the Canucks have brought up Ashton Sautner to the big club. So that's that. Last night, not a great night for scoreboard watching. 3 teams entered the night 4 points behind the Canucks. No, 2 points behind the Canucks. Canucks have 59 points, and entering the night, Arizona, Colorado, and Chicago all had 57 points. Well, Arizona lost, which was good, but Chicago and Colorado won. So now there are 3 teams tied with 59 points, tied for 9th overall. Minnesota Wild is 60. Vancouver, Colorado, and Chicago all had 59 points. So now it's going to be even tighter. The Canucks had the luxury of at least sliding in that 9th spot, 8th spot, even flirted with that a couple times. But now I think it's going to be really tough, especially with the 6 regulars out that I've been talking about, that we've all been talking about. So we shall see what happens. I don't anticipate them falling all the way down to the bottom 5 of the league, but maybe they end up 9th, 10th, 11th as opposed to a playoff spot. I'm still positive. I'm still hopeful, but I'm not stupid either. I realize that the Canucks falling out of the playoffs might be a good thing long run in certain respects, especially if they win the lottery or if they improve their draft standings. But of course, as the founder of the GLCPC, I still want them to make the playoffs. Although there is something to be said, well, if they get smoked in the first round, how much does that actually do for you long term? Yes, it helps the players, it gives them experience, gets the city excited, but then how much are you sacrificing in terms of draft positioning? Anyways, that's out of my control, so that's why I don't worry about it too much. I just talk about what happens, and right now the Canucks are tied for 9th with Chicago and Colorado. And then only 2 points ahead of Arizona. That makes Thursday night's game against Arizona very, very important. All right, what I want to talk about today for a couple minutes now, as we look at the trade deadline, as we talk about free agency, as we talk about the draft, imagine the Canucks fall, win the lottery, and somehow are able to draft a Hughes or a Kakko. I want to talk about top 6 forwards. And basically my question to you Canucks fans is as the Canucks are right now, including injured players, how many top 6 forwards, bona fide top 6 forwards, do the Canucks actually have? And as I hinted earlier in the video, I would argue they only have 3. I would say Pettersson and Besser are first-line forwards for sure. I'd say Bo Horvat is a second-line forward. And that's no offense meant to Bo Horvat. I love him. He's my favorite player, even more so than Pettersson, Besser, and Virtanen. I love Horvat, but I think, if we projected him as a third-line center or whatever, then a second-line center is improvement. He's played first-line minutes because of his responsibilities. His leadership is first-line material, but I think from a skill perspective, he's simply not as naturally as talented as maybe a Pettersson and a Besser, and there's nothing wrong with being a second-line center, especially when your first-line center is Pettersson. So let's argue, then, that it's Pettersson, Besser, and Horvat as top 6 forwards. I would say those are the only 3 for sure. I would say there are 3 guys that could be 3 or 4 guys that could be top 6, and so we'll call them, like instead of first line or second line, 2.5, and that's because none of these guys have grabbed the opportunity and seized it and stayed there. Because if they had, then we could call them top 6 forwards. But we've seen so many guys, especially shuttled in and out of Bo Horvat's line, that I wouldn't say that they're legitimate top 6 guys yet. But there's potential for Sven Berchi. It's too bad that he gets injured so much, but he has played, especially last year, he played very well with Brock and Bo on our second line or first line ahead of the Sedins, whatever you call it. So I think Berchi wasn't so injury prone. I would actually say he's a top 6 forward. He's the closest to me. Then I'd say 3 guys that are on the bubble is Goldobin, Virtanen, and Levo. Goldobin, we know how polarizing he is. He has so much offensive potential, but Travis Green, Jim Benning, not afraid to talk about his defensive shortcomings and his shortcomings when it comes to effort. But Goldobin is tantalizing. He could be a top 6 forward, but he hasn't grasped that and seized that opportunity yet. Jake Virtanen, same thing. Started off the season really well. People were talking about a 20-goal season for him. Now he's going to be out for a month, so he's not going to hit those 20 goals. Might end up somewhere with 13 to 15 goals. But is he ever going to peak at as a 20, 25 goal scorer, which I think you need to be a top 6 forward? Not sure. Jury's still out, so that's why I'm going to give him he's not a top 6. He's not a second-line player. I'm calling him a 2.5 right now. I'm also calling Josh Levo a 2.5. Discarded by the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's got a new lease on life, so to speak, here in Vancouver. Played very well and showed he can play up and down the lineup. He's got the skills, got the hands to play with Pettersson and Besser. Now it's about consistency. And you don't need an all-star to play on Pettersson and Besser's left wing. All you need is someone who's smart enough, who can move the puck, who can get to open areas, and they're going to get their points. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. So I would say that of the next wave after the big 3, I would say Sven Berchi is closest to being a top 6. I would say he could be considered a top 6 when he's healthy. And then right on the cusp are Goldobin, Virtanen, and Levo. There's been other guys that have played in the top 6, but they played there because the Canucks didn't have any healthy bodies, or Travis Green was trying to, figure stuff out. That's the Antoine Roussels of the world, the Louis Ericssons. I wouldn't say, as much as I like Roussel, I don't think he's top 6 technically. He's a third liner. Brandon Sutter's a third liner, or maybe a fourth liner. Tyler Mott's a fourth liner. Louis Ericsson's a third or fourth liner, a very highly paid one, but he is one. Jay Beagle, Marcus Granlund, all these guys, I would argue, are bottom 6 guys, and that's why the bottom 6 is quite interchangeable. Adam Gaudette, maybe Adam Gaudette can get to a top 6 potential, but the way he's going to slot in behind Pettersson and Horvat. He'll likely be our third line center, and he'll be a great one at that. But yeah, that's why the bottom six is so interchangeable, even though Travis Green likes to stick right recently with his fourth line of Beagle, Eriksson, and Mott. But, you know, guys like Granlund, Roussel, Sutter, Gaudette, Schaller, when he gets in line, all those guys are bottom six type guys. So I'd love to hear what you think, and, you know, also leave a comment below as to who might be top six coming forward. Let's not talk about free agency yet or trades yet. I'm talking about guys that are currently in the system. Well, it also speaks to why we need to add guys, you know, from free agency and from trades and good drafting. But right now, do you see a Jonathan Dahlen being a top six? Do you see an Adam Gaudette being a top six? Although I just talked about how he's probably being penciled in as a third line center down the road. Is there anyone else? Is it a Cole Lind? Is there anyone else that might be a top six forward that's in the Canucks system right now? So a couple things to think about. Would love to read your comments below on that. Lastly, as you know, tonight I am attending the Dice and Ice event, the Vancouver Canucks, what do they call it? The signature charity event. It goes for the Canucks for Kids Fund, a very, very good cause, and there'll be players, coaches, senior management, all there. I'm volunteering tonight, and I can't wait. I got my duties. Like I mentioned yesterday, I'm an usher, I'm a runner during the auction, and I'm a gift distributor at the end of the night. But regardless, I don't think I can tweet or post a lot of stuff when I'm there today. I got to concentrate on my volunteer duties, but I look forward to sharing some of my experiences with you tomorrow on this vlog. Okay, that's enough for now. Would love to read your comments below on anything. Michael Leighton, on Ashton Sautner, Alex Edler, injuries, top six forwards. Do you agree that we only have three? Do you agree with my assessment of the next wave being Berchi, Godolbin, Virtanen, Levo? And even if you want to talk about Dice and Ice, if you've ever been before, or if you're jealous, no, don't be jealous. I will take all of you with me, and then I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. A bit of snow, but it should be just a dusting compared to what we had last week. And I hope you have a great day. Canucks not in action again until Thursday night, but they do practice tomorrow. God bless, and go Canucks go.